What is up, everybody? Welcome in second consecutive episode of the Wild Snap live every Tuesday at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. How's it going, everybody? It's Drew Shula here. Very excited to get into this episode. We got three new guests that we didn't have on last week. We're going to be talking a little college football first. We're going to break. We're going to talk a little NFL football. Let me introduce some guys. So we got Elderson right here, one of my buddies here. We're all FAU students. Elderson, how we doing today?
Doing good. I'm doing good. I'm really excited for the NFL topic once we get to that one. Really excited for that one.
Oh yeah. Then we got Nick. How we doing, Nick?
What's going on, brother? Thank you for having me. Excited to talk some football.
Always. And then Toby. Toby's always here, the producer of the show. How we doing, Toby?
I'm good. It was a bit of a brutal weekend watching the Yanks take that brutal loss last night. But other than that, we're doing pretty good.
Tough one last night. I thought maybe we'd get some ninth inning magic, but I guess not. The Jazz.
Crazy story thing is, I almost took Yankees money line last night. I faded it.
Well, good thing you
Not
did.
been a good pick, Al.
Yeah. But Adam, how we doing today?
I'm just grateful to be here, Shula. Thanks for having me.
Of course, guys. Gonna be a good one today. We got a lot to talk about. Let's get right into it. There's no time to waste right now. How about what I thought the biggest storyline of Saturday? As the one Vanderbilt player once said, that's how we play SEC ball. Alabama, you're next. Toby, you got the clip. Let me see that.
Before we go, what kind of win is this for the program?
We expected to get this. When you come to our house, we show you how to play some SEC ball. It don't matter where you're from. You're going to know what ball we play. We're going to next week ranked. That's fine. Alabama, you're next.
He might not have been right at the time, but he might have been onto something. Might have predicted it. Because how about the Vanderbilt Commodores? I said it's right. The Commodores, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. The Vanderbilt Commodores, 40-35 win against the Alabama Crimson Tide. Alabama ranked number 1 coming into that game. Definitely won't be ranked number 1 after that game. At one point, Vanderbilt led by 9 at half. I remember Nick texted me. He's like, what was it? He was like, we know it's not going to stay that way, right? Might as well take Alabama while we can. I'm like, there's no value. They're minus 220. But guess what? Vanderbilt won. So maybe we should have took Vanderbilt money line. Boys, give me some thoughts. Elderson, we'll start with you.
I thought the game was simple. Bama's defense is not as good as we thought they were. The time of possession was 42-17. They couldn't get off the field. Vanderbilt, I watched the game for a good bit, and Vanderbilt was just left, right, running the ball. I was like, Bama is not stopping the run. So now, going forward, that's a blueprint. Can Bama stop the run? I think I don't really see a very dominant defense in this year's college football, but that's just about it. Can't stop the run.
Yeah. Nick, how about you?
Yeah, honestly, nothing made me happier than seeing Bama lose that game. But honestly, the thing that stuck out the most was definitely time of possession. If you're having 42 minutes on offense during the game, the other team is 18, there's no reason you should be losing that game, especially if you have 0 turnovers. Vanderbilt was able to move the ball at will. I think they ran for over 150 yards, running all over them, converted a ton of third downs. Bama's defense just couldn't get off the field. And honestly, it wasn't Bama's offense that lost them in the game. They still scored 35 points in the 18 minutes that they had. But Bama's defense has to be more physical. They need to step it up for sure.
12 or 18 on third downs. 12 or 18.
That's damn impressive right there. Adam, what you got? Toby, anything?
I'll let Adam go first.
One thing that's surprising is Vanderbilt only outgained Alabama by 24 yards of total offense, and Vanderbilt held the ball, like Nick said, literally 25 plus more minutes than them, and only outgained Alabama by 20 yards. So that's a pretty interesting stat.
Oh yeah, it means they converted. Converting big third downs is huge. Sustaining drives, I like what Elderson said. I agree that Bama defense, they looked really damn good before. I guess the Georgia game, because they kind of gave up a lot of points in that one, but they were looking like a really impressive unit. What's the safety? Hold on.
Nah, Bama's secondary is a little sketchy. It's questionable.
What is his name? Malachi Moore. You guys see him kind of crashing out number 13 on Alabama?
Oh yeah, I did see that. I did see that.
That's not Nick Saban ball right there.
That's passion. At some point, because when a team is running the ball against you, that's, to me, I feel that disrespectful. As a former player, that's just disrespectful. because that's just a guy lining up against you and just pushing you backwards. Like he just manhandling you. That's just nasty work. But yeah, I didn't have a problem with him crashing out. Like, dude, like we can't get a stop.
It's embarrassing.
mean,
To crash
yeah.
out like that, that's embarrassing. Didn't he shove the guy back down after he tackled him or he pinned him down onto the ground?
It,
He chucked his mouthpiece 20 yards.
Yeah.
You don't have to do
Screaming at
all of that, bro. That's a little you're playing for Alabama.
That's
Lose like a man, bro. I
a
don't
little
know.
bit, a lot of just losing all discipline right there. I'm pretty sure he kicked the ball through his mouthpiece, screamed at his players, screamed at the other team, probably yelled at the ref too. Just not a good crash out. Not
He
a good
checked
look
all the
for
boxes.
one thing I thought was freaking hilarious. You guys see, so Tennessee did it when they beat Alabama. Maybe it's just everybody's Super Bowl, but rightfully so for Vanderbilt. They've never had a big win ever in football. So they take the goalpost down after they storm the field. Rightfully so. I would too. Dude, absolutely go for it. But then they brought it. So you guys know how Vanderbilt's in Nashville. They bring it all the way to Broadway, Nashville, which isn't that close. It's like a good 2 miles. Like they walked a good 2 miles to Broadway, Nashville with the goalposts. Thought that was hilarious. Morgan Wallen's bar right there. They're bringing it all those bars. Luke Bryan's, Jason Aldean's. They're bringing them all there. So I thought that was hilarious. But we got to move on. Let's move on to my favorite football conference. Not really, but kind of a little bit. The AAC. We all have a special place in our hearts for the AAC as FAU is now in there. The service academies are so elite. And you know what? The odds makers are starting to get track of that because Army is now favored 25.5 points. That's absurd. I've taken them every single week besides the FAU week. I've taken them every single week, their spread, and they have smashed it. And now they're favored 25.5. That's crazy. Navy 5-0, Army 5-0. It doesn't get poetic justice that the American Conference, their two highest ranked, best record teams are Army and Navy. You guys watch any Army Navy? Fill me in. What do you guys like about them?
I mean, we watch them every single weekend. They're just a wagon. They're fun to bet on. I mean, they're not the most entertaining. I mean, like offense to throw out there or to watch on TV. But when a team's covering every single game, I mean, that's fun to watch. So I don't love watching the Army offense on a Saturday to Saturday basis. But if they're making me money every weekend, I'm taking that 25.5.
I'm not taking that 25.5, and I'm not watching Army play. No offense. I like a good offense. I like somebody that moves the ball. But they have been balling pretty good, so I can't fault you for taking the money. But I'm not watching Army play respectfully.
I feel like both these teams have been very entertaining to watch, regardless of their side of football. Army's defense hasn't let up more than 14 points a game, and they're also averaging over 35, around 36, 37 points a game. So that's still pretty legit, even though they haven't played the best competition yet. They look good. I think Navy's also averaging over 40 points a game. So I think when they clash at the end of the year, it's going to be a pretty good offensive duel, which I don't think anyone would ever think would happen.
Now, they make some big plays. It's fun to watch. They occasionally have the deep ball to the end zone or a 40-yard pass or something. So I mean, that's honestly more fun to watch when they're just running the ball the whole time. They got the occasional pass play that makes it a pretty another little bit of entertainment there when they just throw a little 40-yard bomb just when you're least expecting it. But yeah, that Army Navy game should be incredible.
Army and Navy play Notre Dame in back-to-back weeks in South Bend. What are the chances that Army and Navy go 2-0 in South Bend?
Way better than previous years. Army, they're such a wagon. We were so pissed. We were all in person for that FAU Army game. Scorching hot, probably the hottest game I've ever been to. And, it was pretty close for a decent amount of the time. It was within at least 2 scores. And then they broke out that fake field goal. They're just so damn disciplined. Who's running a fake field goal to perfection? It's dude, that team's tough to beat. And Notre Dame, they dropped that stunker to Northern Illinois. And that loss makes less sense every single week. Because Notre Dame, they are pretty good. Riley Leonard, Marcus Freeman's a good coach, good defense. But how do they do that? Army, I think Army could really sneak up on them.
Are you taking Army? Are you taking Army plus?
I'll probably take their spread. I have a feeling they'll be underdogs too. What do you guys think?
I think
Yeah.
whatever going into that game, I think Army points, if they're obviously not going to be favored. I think their points are going to be a good value, like to go and get. But I think that game is going to go under. Most of Notre Dame's offense looks to be run by their quarterback and running back, and the option they seem to be like just going down other teams' throats, and then Army's defense just looks good. So I think that they'll come in, be able to stop the run very well. I don't know how their secondary is going to do against the Notre Dame receivers or how Riley Leonard will throw the ball, but I think any under in that game is going to be good value.
Yeah, no, and Navy rightfully so deserves their respect. I took them. I faded them a few weeks ago because when Memphis was undefeated coming off the Florida State win, they were big favorites against Navy, and I thought they'd win. And of course, they lose to Navy. My favorite tweet, probably of all time, was when the entire the entire Memphis defense got outran by the Navy quarterback, and someone goes, "Bro, their whole team just got outran by a sailor." It was pretty great. Blake Horvath, great player. What Navy? They have to play Tulane, who I think is the other out of those three, out of the big four. So Memphis, Tulane, Army, Navy. I think Tulane's probably the best of the four. I think that Tulane team is really good. Ironic, they're starting a true freshman quarterback, and he's been awesome too. But so Navy has to play Tulane in order to get into the conference championship because the winner of that one will likely take the other spot unless one of them falls off if they win out. So that's something to watch out there. But Army and Navy, they have a chance to play in the. I don't know how it works because they already play. They always play every year in December, but they might be able to play for a conference championship. So we'll see. Anyone know how that works or not really?
They would play in back to back weeks if they're both at the top of the conference still.
Back to back weeks.
Or I think there's a bye week in between the conference championship and the last game of the year.
They might have to play during like around Christmas time, something like that. I don't know. The new playoff really makes things tough because usually it's just the New Year's is the kind of the semifinal for the 4 team playoff format, but that's gone now. But one thing, so obviously some of you may not know Adam, me. So he's FAU student, born in Wisconsin though, so he's all Big Ten country. Tell me a little bit about how Minnesota took down USC. I took USC, their spread. Did not even think it was possible that they could lose to this Minnesota team. Fill me in a little bit, Adam.
I had a little feeling going into that week last week that Minnesota did have a chance against USC. Unfortunately, I am not a Minnesota fan at all. I despise Minnesota. So the Homer Wisconsin fan in me did not want to touch that game at all, even though I had a feeling that Minnesota was going to cover, even had a chance to pull it out, which they did. The only thing I really see from that game is Minnesota out physical USC. And there's 2 reasons that I think go into that. One is USC is new to the Big Ten, which is a different type of football than what they're used to being in the Pac-12 for so many years. And the second thing is USC played Michigan 2 weeks prior and Wisconsin the week before, so they might have been a little beat up or even were looking past Minnesota. It was also the first time they had to travel across the country all year. So
I agree there. Dude, that travel is really underratedly tough. Like, imagine flying from, like, for example, you have to fly from Los Angeles to the Newark airport just for a game against Rutgers. Then you have to fly back for a game against Washington on a short break. So that's tough right there. You guys able to catch any of the Minnesota game? Any of the any thoughts on Miller Moss? Any of that?
I think the number one thing to take away from USC football is that Miller Moss is just not the answer. I don't care what happened in the LSU game. I don't care if they pulled it out. I don't think Miller Moss is that good. I'm pretty sure his QBR is under 70 right now. I don't think he's a great quarterback. And he threw an interception in the fourth quarter, which was like a pretty important time of the game when they were in Minnesota's territory and they needed to score there to make it. I think it was a 2-possession or 3-possession game. But we turn it over like on the Minnesota 30-yard line. You can't do that. And also at the end of the game, kind of just an interception, which most quarterbacks kind of throw in the end zone. But I just think it all comes down to Miller Moss, and I don't think he's the answer for them.
I'm going to agree because one of the only games I have watched of Miller Moss, of course. Well, I watched him against Wisconsin for a little bit, but the LSU game. And he looked great in that game. He outplayed the Nuss Bus, Garrett Nussmeier. So I kind of thought, like Minnesota's not really in their ballpark. But it's college football, and it's awesome because anyone has a chance to upset anyone. So with that being said, I'm just gonna say it. Mizzou, what the fuck? Missouri, what did you just do? I wasn't like too confident because going to College Station to play Texas A&M.
The 12th man. Did you forget about the 12th man,
I
Chulo?
took I took Missouri. I took
I
Missouri.
took Mizzou.
Notre
You
Dame,
took Missouri too?
Yeah.
Oh
me
my
too.
god.
Notre Dame went
I
into
stay away.
College Station and they got it done. I was like, all right, the 12th man, like it's a thing. I recognize it, but like it's not like It's like the swamp. Like everyone's like the swamp is impossible to play, and I'm like, I'm still taking Miami money line week 1, and guess what? It's like
Honest-
I don't know.
Honestly, with that Missouri game, it was just a physicality issue. Missouri, I think
Like,
what Missouri reminded me watching that game. Remember TCU from a few weeks ago? I think that's what it was. It was the same case scenario where we got to see what they were really about early on. Nick Scorton, the Texas A&M defensive lineman, he was just in the backfield the whole day. The O line from Mizzou is not very good. Um, yeah, they were just outmatched, like physical. Like it was just an ugly game. I don't like the O line from Mizzou at all, and their corners are not good. That's their corners. Mizzou's corners are not good. I don't like the defense they ran. They kept on rushing four. They was not getting home. I would have loved to see more blitzes, but yeah, it's just now I know going forward, fade Mizzou. Like
I think Mizzou just like isn't as good as they were ranked. Like their rank never showed it. They probably should have lost to Boston College. They were outplayed most of that game until the end of the game. They probably could have lost to Vandy too, and we'd be thinking about this Bama game a little different because Vandy's been pretty good. They probably should have lost to Vandy. They come into College Station and it's just straight belt to ass. Like that game was never close from the jump. Missouri's run defense was miserable, and their QB had a 25.6 QBR, throwing 13 for 31. That's horrible.
he was,
Just QB. Mizzou's QB is not good.
Brady Cook. You guys are not a fan of Brady Cook,
I wouldn't say he's not good.
Senior? How many years has he been in college now?
dude. He played. I'm pretty sure. So he played at Memphis before he. I could find this. I think he played in the what's it called? The 2018 American. Yeah, he committed in 2018. He was the class of 2020. Okay, so he didn't. I'm thinking of someone else. I'm thinking of Brady White. That's who I'm thinking of. Brady Cook committed to college in 2020. So he's, I think, a true senior, and it is what I believe. But yeah, it's like for me. It's like I watched it from the start to the finish. So obviously, College Station's rocking, but Mizzou, their best player, Luther Burden, maybe the best receiver in the country. That's definitely up for debate. Luther Burden. So they were able to throw up a ball to him. They get a pass interference, but
That
it's
is
they kind of just shot themselves in the foot right away. Like their coach did not help him at all. Like they went for it on a 4th and 2 and threw it up to Luther Burden again, and they tried to draw a pass interference penalty. It definitely could have been called, but regardless, like they just didn't give themselves a chance to win the football game. They punted when they shouldn't have. They didn't punt when they should have. It's like so they screwed themselves there. Nick Scorton, on Tyrese, he's up there. He's up there, Tyrese. Luther, maybe not this year, but you have to take in mind the whole body of work. Luther Burden, he's solid, man. Not top 7. I'd like to hear 7 more names. Tell me in the comments. Give me 7 names better. I could probably maybe 5 at best. That's where
five.
I
You
maybe.
could have 5.
Tretch Kahuna's on that list.
Who that? Who's that?
He's got Jeremiah Smith.
Big
He's
Ten.
gonna have.
You're showing him.
He's
Tretch
gonna,
Ryan Williams. I'll give McMillan from Arizona. Who I don't know. Maybe Xavier Restrepo from Miami for any fans of the U. But regardless, it's like Mizzou. They didn't have a chance. I like that Nick Scorton, Travis Hunter. Yeah, that's true. I think he's around that 5 to 7 range right now. So yeah, maybe it was on my fault saying best receiver in the country. Probably not. Top 5. We have a conversation now. But yeah, Mizzou just outclassed the whole time. Absolutely awful. But this is something we need to talk about. Someone that didn't stink the bed. Maybe America's hero right now. You guys are big fans of Group of 5 football because I sure am. Ashton Jeanty. How about the Boise State? What are they? The blue
Broncos, right?
There's the Bronco. I thought they were the blue something. Boise State Broncos. They covered. They were my bet of the week last week. Covered. Hell yeah. But Ashton Jeanty averaging 10.9 yards per carry. Absolutely Heisman worthy. We're going to talk about that. But what are your guys' thoughts on Boise State? Are they going to make the playoff as of right now? Ashton Jeanty, is he the Heisman favorite? Tell me.
All right.
Yeah.
Ashton GT himself, he should be the Heisman favorite. 16 quarters of football, 1,000 yards rushing, 16 touchdowns, on pace to break Barry Sanders' record. That's something that we're not going to see for a long time. This is one of the most dominant football player, or probably the most dominant football player right now. And it's not like he didn't just go against anybody. He had 186 yards rushing and 3 touchdowns against Oregon. Oregon's ranked top 5 right now. So even against the best competition, he's still putting up big numbers.
Oh, yeah.
Where do you see him getting drafted, Nick?
It's hard to tell with the running backs, but
I think
I can see
he gets drafted.
Shula with the first round.
I'd say 14. The Cowboys could use a running back. So if Cowboys have that 14 to 18.
That'd be so cool. They're starting Rico Dowdle right now. Like, come on. Like, at some point, they've drafted Zeke in the past. They've drafted Bijan Robinson, first-round pick recently. Jameer Gibbs.
The Cowboys have always had good running backs or decent. They had DeMarco, what's his name?
Murray.
DeMarco Murray. Then they had Zeke. They've had Tony Pollard was also good for a hot minute there. But yeah, I think the Cowboys will be a good fit. But he's a middle of the pack run draftee.
I think GT wins the Heisman if Boise State gets into the playoffs. If Boise State's not in the playoffs, GT doesn't win the Heisman.
No,
It's tricky. For me, it's like I don't see a way that Travis Hunter can like on Colorado. They need to like make the Big 10 like championship Big 12 championship somehow, conference game. I don't see a way. Like, let's say they go 7-5, which is what they're probably going to go. I don't know. Like, the Big 12 is not easy. Like, how could you justify? I get it, receiver, corner, elite at both. But it's like no, you can't even say that. I was going to go with the Otani route, but like that's so different. They don't really care about your team at all when talking about an MVP. It's like I'm trying to think. There's people that have like been so good, but their team is not good enough for them to win a Heisman.
I mean, you said 7-5. I mean, that's kind of like you just putting that out there. They've been good this year. What's the record? 4-1.
Yeah, they're Let me see.
They did beat UCF. I don't know if you guys watched the UCF.
Like the hardest part of their schedule too.
Yeah, they smoked UCF.
Bro, who is UCF?
UCF is a decent team. It's a decent team. That's a good dub.
The same UCF that just lost to Florida?
They got killed by Florida. Murdered. UCF. Speaking of UCF, you guys, half their team is in the transfer portal right now. Their kicker, Colton Boomer. Great name. He, in fact, UCF fans are mad because Big Justice and AJ went.
Why is he in the portal mid-season?
Half of them are. They're one of their best receivers.
Play over more than 4 games, you can't redshirt. So everyone's transferring right now before they hit the 4 games, so they can get another year.
Yep. One of their best receivers just hit the portal because he torched us a few years ago. And then one of their best corners, who was on that Cincinnati team that made the college football playoff, also hit the portal. So Gus Malzahn, I don't know what's going on over there. I guess getting smoked by LeJontay Wester. And Colorado was enough to get them to hit the portal. But we got to talk more Heisman talk, boys. We're going to go around. Elderson, give me some Heisman talk, some guys you like, maybe some guys that maybe aren't getting enough love. And then your Heisman pick, too.
My Heisman pick is Ashanti. I know you said they have to make the playoffs. I disagree with that. I don't think they have to make the playoffs. For it, like at some point, if you are dominant enough, to me, this is how I view the Heisman. You're dominant, like, or you're just the best player in the country. And to have how many touchdowns he has right now? 16.
That's more than Will Howard has.
I'm saying, so he's on pace to go for 2K plus rushing yards. By the time the season's over, he's going to be at 2,200? 2,200, 25 plus touchdowns. I don't care if you make it or not. You was dominant enough where nobody could stop you. You're averaging 10 yards per carry. That's a first down. You give him the ball, that's a first down. That's dominance. Dominance wins you trophies. That's how I view it. Simple.
Nick, what you got?
It's hard to not pick a QB for a QB award, but I think this is the first year where I think the two people that should be the Heisman aren't QBs. I think this is a Travis Hunter versus Ashton Jeanty. I don't think there's really any argument for anyone else. I think Milroe was up there for a little bit, but I don't think Milroe looked good enough in the Vanderbilt game, especially with the fumble and the pick six. Whereas sock drop, I'm going to stand on what I was saying at the beginning of the year. Travis Hunter is my Heisman right now. You can't really go against an interception a game and 100 yards receiving and a touchdown or two on offense and playing both sides the amount that he does. I think he's ridiculous. And I think Ashton Jeanty's stats are just outrageous. But again, it is a QB award, so I could see how you could throw Milroe or Cam Ward in there. But as of right now, I'm going to go Travis Hunter. I think he's the best player in college football.
Tobey, need your pick.
Yeah, I've been saying, and I said it last week, that it's either Hunter or it's Jeanty, and it's got to be Jeanty. I mean, last week I said he had, 30 more rushing yards than his QB had passing yards, and this week he's got 25 less rushing yards than his QB has passing yards. He's already got over 1,000 yards. He didn't even play second half, and he broke off, I think, 3 separate 50-plus run touchdowns. I mean, he's just unreal. I mean, like Elderson said, dominance should win you trophies, and that's what we're seeing out of him. It's just like video game stuff, and that is just warranted of a Heisman. And as good as Travis has been, I mean, and there is a QB that I know Hoff will probably talk about, and I like him, and I thought, besides maybe one loss, he might be in the convo, but it's got to be Jeanty for me. He's been too good.
Adam, what we got?
All right, I'm going to go a little different route than the rest of the people on the panel here. I think Jackson Dart is the front runner for the Heisman right now, even with the loss to Kentucky. I mean, he's already at 2,100 yards passing with 13 touchdowns and 2 interceptions with an 87.6 QBR, which is 4th in the nation. Their schedule the rest of the way is favorable. The 2 hardest games on it are Oklahoma, if you consider them hard. I mean, they haven't been anything special all year. And then Georgia. I think if Ole Miss runs the table here and Jackson Dart keeps the level of play that he's playing at right now, there's no reason why he's not in the Heisman conversation.
I have a question.
Go ahead.
So do you think they just beat LSU easily too? LSU's not.
Yeah, they're covering that -3 for sure.
I mean, I did see them just lose the other week, so I don't know if LSU's a pushover. And you're only talking about Georgia. I think the LSU game is going to be closer than you expect. And I would not be surprised if LSU wins that game.
LSU is tough at home.
LSU.
But one guy, he has to. Maybe he's not my pick. He might be. I'm honestly kind of flustered right now. I'll go with Jeanty as my pick. But why is no one talking about Cam Ward? I get it. Everyone's mad at him. They hate Miami. They think they're going to lose, and they might. But man, all right. That Cam Ward interception pissed me off.
He does that every game. Every game.
But he's just so damn good, though. So keep him in your thoughts. Before they lost, I would have said Nico. He
was my preseason Heisman favorite, actually. Yeah. But he does that every game. Once we get to the NFL, we'll talk about Cam Ward a little bit more. I don't know. I thought I liked him, and I've been seeing him play. He's really good. It's just some of the passes he'll make. It reminds me like a better AR-15, Anthony Richardson. He's just a more talented. I was like, dude, why are you throwing that? There's nothing. Just throw it out. Don't even try that pass. That's my only problem with Cam Ward. His decision making is a lot questionable.
Mm-hmm. I personally wouldn't even put him above Dart or Milroe. I don't think he should be the quarterback that we're talking about. I think Dart and Milroe's passing probably isn't up to the standards, but his rushing is ridiculous. His rushing upside's crazy. I don't think Cam Ward should be above Milroe or Dart for the conversation.
I had Milroe last week, and he was my preseason guy because I thought Kalen DeBoer, offensive genius. Alabama, they made the right hire. Milroe, big breakout, and it was tracking, and then they lose to Vanderbilt.
Does Milroe throw the best deep ball in college football?
I think he's throwing to the best deep ball wide receiver because I don't think anyone could guard Ryan Williams on the deep ball.
That's a great point. But we got one thing before we hit break because we are blowing past our 30-minute window. So I do bet of the week every week. I give a college football bet. I'm 3-0 in the past 3 weeks, so you guys might want to tail me. Look at my article that'll come out tomorrow. I'll start us off because everyone's going to do one, and we made a parlay that if you take, I will tell you the odds at the end. Take it right here. Maybe add it to your books. Maybe write it down if you have a piece of paper next to you. I'm taking Memphis spread -6.5 versus South Florida. If you get the chance to move it to 6.5, do it because it just went up to 7.5 today. I think that Memphis is a really good team. They lost to a tough Navy team on the road, weren't ready for it. South Florida, prayers up for the hurricane, but the hurricane is affecting, just in general, it's going to affect, that school in that area. South Florida also lost their quarterback, Byron Brown, one of the better players on their team. It's not an easy offense to run with the backup, and their backups are not very talented compared to maybe last year where FAU, their quarterback situation wasn't great, but they had a backup they can kind of rely on. This team, USF, is their backup. Bryce Archie now. So I just really like, and I don't think their defense is that great either. So if you can, move it down to Memphis 6.5. That is my take. Elderson, what you got?
I'm taking Penn State -5 against USC. I don't think USC. I think that's a guarantee. Like if you want to say a game with names, like the schools, Penn State, USC. I don't think USC's defense is very good. I've seen UFC struggle the past few weeks. They already got 2 losses. Lincoln Riley's known for offense, not defense. And I just think Penn State's just going to run the ball. It's going to be a physical game, and USC is not going to be prepared for that. They've had a rough 2 weeks, so I think it's just going to pile up.
Nick, what you got?
Yeah, so I'm going to go with Ohio State on the road taking on Oregon, primetime game. I'm going to go with, I think it's -3 points, Ohio State -3. I don't think being at home for Oregon really helps them that much. They played Idaho like week 1, just barely squeaked away. Next week at home they play Boise State again, just barely squeak away. I think this spread should be a little bit higher, honestly. It should be 6.5, 7.5 for Ohio State. But because Oregon's at home, I think it's a little bit lower. The only thing holding Ohio State back is Will Howard. I'm not a big fan of him. But this Oregon team just looks like they're so due for a loss, and I don't think they really compete in this one.
Tobey, what we cooking?
So I'm going to go to the CUSA for this pick, and I'm going to go with Liberty -16.5 against FIU. Bottom line, this FIU team lost by 18 points to FAU. They are not ready for this undefeated Liberty team. I think it's going to be – I mean, if this is a 20.5 line, because I've seen this line at 20.5, if it's there, I would still take that. I really just I don't like this FAU or the FIU team at all. I almost said FAU. This FIU team is just brutal to watch, and I've seen them firsthand. So I would not in any lifetime bet on FIU. We're going to tail Liberty here -16.5.
Adam, finish us off, and then I'm going to say if you take it in 5, the 5-leg parlay that we're giving you, I'll tell you the odds. But Adam, let's do it.
I'm taking the over in the Wisconsin-Rutgers game at 40 points. Both teams are averaging over 20 points a game. The Badgers are coming off a 56-point performance last week against Purdue, while Rutgers is coming off only putting up 7 against Nebraska. I think they're in a bounce-back spot to put up more points, along with the Badgers figuring out their offense midway through the season. I think this game is primed to go over the 40.
Well, you heard it here. We got that 5-leg parlay, if you were to put $10 on it. So let me read it out to you. Liberty -16.5. Wisconsin, Rutgers over 40. Memphis -6.5. Penn State -5.5. And Ohio State -3. That is plus 2,383 odds. So $10 would get you $240 and a little more than that, $248. But we have blown past our 30-minute window. We're going to go take a quick break, only about 2 minutes, so don't go anywhere. We're going to talk a little NFL ball because there's some big news that happened this past week, but we'll be right back. It was a quick. Hear a little echo. Is that someone's phone or? Now we're good. Okay, we're back. We got another little over 20 minutes to talk NFL. We'll get right into it. We got two Jets fans here. We got an Aaron Rodgers fan, and we got Adam, and we got me. But how about Robert Saleh, New York Jets head coach, fired in his third year, starting 2-3 for the New York Jets. Nick, I'll go to you and I'll ask you this first. What are your initial thoughts on Robert Saleh getting fired? Where do you see the Jets season going from this point forward?
A little surprising to start. Honestly, I think getting rid of Salah was kind of the least of the concerns. I mean, it's surprising news, don't get me wrong, but it's not one of those crazy things where, wow, the Jets season's about to turn around like right now. He wasn't like, it's not like he was doing the worst job in the world. I think the more important spot is Nathaniel Hackett, if I'm being honest. I think he's just absolutely terrible. But again, pretty big news. I don't see this changing the Jets that much right now. I don't think they've looked good on offense. I think the offense is the bigger issue. And Robert Saleh is a defensive guy, and the defenses look good. I think where we should worry about is the offense, what we're going to do moving forward. I think Hackett should be the one to go. Honestly, anyone could fill in and do a better job. And if they do trade for Devontae Adams, I think their season will turn around just from that one trade. But as of right now, honestly, I don't even see him as a playoff team right now.
Is Hackett the worst OC in the NFL?
Yes,
Say
For sure.
yes.
comfortably yes. Not a Nathaniel Hackett guy. He stunk in Denver. He really wasn't good in Green Bay because he wasn't even calling plays. He was just the OC. But Matt LaFleur did everything there. We know that. Matt LaFleur's awesome. He's 2-0 with Malik Willis at quarterback this year. That's just the thing, though, is getting Rodgers is always a tricky deal because you know he has his guys and he needs his guys in order to work, which is why I actually think they still should trade for Devontae Adams. He runs a lot of timing stuff. He likes those back shoulder balls, and I don't think he has the timing with Mike Williams. He does, I guess, with Lazard, but Lazard stinks. And then Garrett Wilson, it's not the perfect match yet. So maybe getting Devontae Adams that's just the thing about Rodgers. Is Rodgers like that crazy girlfriend? He's got the Jets on a leash. The Jets are the boyfriend, and he will make them do whatever they want.
Nah, I'll be honest. I did think Salah should get fired. I did say he should get fired, but my thing is, if you're gonna, I'm not a fan of the firing mid-season because that does nothing. Like, it's weird. You're already 2-3, but I do agree with Nick that if you're gonna fire the head coach, you should fire where also the problem is, and that's the offense. Now, I love offense. I have so many problems with the Jets. The first problem is the O-line. If you're going to have a 40-year-old quarterback, you got to have an O-line. The Jets in the offseason, yeah, they went and signed somebody, but they didn't do nothing. I don't know what the Jets thought was going to happen. Bringing in Rodgers, and he just magically going to save the day. He's coming off an Achilles injury, and he's 40 years old. What you thought was going to happen? The problem with the Jets offense is the O-line is so bad, they can't run the ball. And when you can't run the ball and that's all you have, yes, you may have Garrett Wilson, but that's easy to cover. That's easy to cover if we know that's one guy you got. You just roll the coverage to Garrett Wilson's side, and then we know your O-line came back. I watched the Jets play. Who did they play?
The Vikings.
Yes, they played the Vikings this past week, and no, it was the first week. What was that first week? I forgot that game.
The Niners.
Yeah, they played that Niners, and every game so far with the Jets, number 72 or 71, I know his number by heart because he always jumping off sides. He always jumping off sides or holding somebody. 71 or 72, he's one of those numbers. That's how trash he is. Why should I know an old lineman's number?
Well, I do, but I'm a freaking psychopath, so I know everything.
Nah, it's just, and I think the problem is the O-line. If we could just get a nice little O-line, we could run the ball. When you can run the ball, now the offense playbook opens up because now you could play action. They know like, shoot, we can't put 8 in the box. We can't put 8 in the box.
It's true.
The slants is going to be right there, the quick outs. And plus, I'll be honest with you, Rodgers is my favorite quarterback ever. He has not looked good this season. His balls have been low a lot. I don't know why that is. I don't know if he's missing the lift, but the balls have been low. The last pick he threw, that's supposed to be a jump ball to Mike Williams. He threw it low. He threw it low and inside. I'm like, don't get mad at nobody. That's your fault.
weirdly enough, I don't even think it's a physical wash. Like he's 40. I think he just is making awful decisions. Like I see him running away from pressure, throwing it cross body to the Denver game specifically. Dude, he's doing that like a lot. Like he looks kind of good physically. I think he's making poor decisions, but we got some more to cover. We won't talk long about this, but I just had to say it. The Dolphins won without Tua. We are not the worst team in the NFL anymore. I'm very proud of Mike McDaniel. He recognized, hey, maybe stop going to the well of all this crazy nonsense with a backup quarterback. Play good defense, run the ball, simplify the playbook, still get it to your playmakers, but pound the damn rock. They had an 8-minute drive to go up on the Patriots, and guess who punched it in? Adam Hoff's boy, Alec Ingold, the fullback. I love a good fullback getting in the end zone. So that was awesome. But more importantly, the Browns, the Cleveland Browns, they lose again. Deshaun Watson.
It's time to start Jameis.
That's what I'm going to ask you guys. What the absolute hell is going on in Cleveland? They don't have Deshaun Watson's obviously not that guy, but don't they owe it to their players to start Jameis at least? He's clearly better. He could be awful and he'll be better. What do you guys think's going on? There's got to be some politics.
There's one thing stopping the Cleveland Browns from benching Deshaun Watson, and it's the fact that he has over $250 million guaranteed. I think he still has $120, $130 million guaranteed within the next 2 years. You can't really bench him. Like, what do you do with him? You drop him, and now you're in dead cap of $150 million. You can't do that. Can you bench him? It's kind of hard. You're paying him so much money to sit the bench. It's kind of a weird situation for them. And one thing I do want to touch on the Dolphins real quick is that the only takeaway from that game is that they made Drake May for the Patriots. Drake May is now the starter because Jacoby Brissett's so bad, and I did want to see Drake May.
Jacoby Brissett was indeed awful. But, yeah, no, Nick, I agree. It's hard to bench him. Like, is that the worst trade of all time in the NFL? What has he done in Cleveland? He's been I've never seen a player get that much worse. And I get he was off the field for a year, but he got so much worse. Like he was nice in Houston.
I don't think he's trash. I don't think that's the problem. I think the Browns as an organization is just a shit show. Like we're talking about, it's just horrible all around. When I say it's horrible all around, the Browns O-line is missing 3 starters. Again, I'm going back to the O-line. You can't protect your quarterback. The quarterback, if every time I hike the ball, I said, somebody's in my face, what do you want me to do? And it doesn't help that Amari Cooper and Jerry Jeudy's dropping balls. Amari Cooper hasn't been a good receiver this season. I don't want to sound like I'm a Watson defender, but I am a fan of his. I've been a fan of him since Clemson. Again, it's the O-line. You're missing 3 starters. You're missing your left tackle. You're missing a right guard. And I think they're missing the center.
So if you put him in a different system, you think he has better numbers?
Yes. I think you protect any quarterback. When Tom Brady went to the Bucs, how did he win the Super Bowl? He was not getting touched. You must protect your quarterback.
You know what, though? Here's where I disagree. You need to get the ball out faster. I'm seeing him getting blitzed, and he's holding the ball. Throw the damn ball, man. Like, that's how you need better protection, but if someone's bringing 6 and you're blocking 5.
The Browns played the Giants, and the Giants blitzed them by 80% of the time. You know how disrespectful that is?
Daniel Jones is better, by the way. Daniel Jones is a better quarterback than Watson.
Deshaun Watson's arguably the worst quarterback in the NFL right now. Like, honestly, everything about his game is just absolutely terrible. Like, his balls
Have
are
you not seen Will Levis play? Have you not seen Will Levis?
I think I'm taking Will Levis over Deshaun Watson because they're both just as bad.
That's crazy.
They're both
so bad, but, like, Will Levis, I don't know. Maybe it's because I'm a Dolphins fan. He torched us some freaking money.
So you put Will Levis on the Browns team right now. They have more or less wins?
They have more. Well, you take Will Levis' stupid decision-making out of the first 2 games, they're 2-0. Besides this,
you can't really just take that out, though.
That's his decision-making.
Yeah, he's really bad.
I guess you're right. But you fix that decision-making, he's way better. Deshaun Watson just overall is a terrible NFL quarterback. Probably wouldn't even be a good quarterback in the CFL. Everything about
Did you guys forget Deshaun Watson? Did you guys forget before the suspension and the allegations, he led the league in passing, right?
The way he's been playing a little bit.
And after all that, he's still terrible. He's still the worst quarterback in the NFL right now. I don't care about how he was in 2018. Right now, he should not be a starting quarterback in the NFL. He probably shouldn't even be a backup.
I disagree. I think it's mental. I think it's mental. He's been through a lot. If I read correctly, his dad passed away a few weeks. He has not been. He was injured last year. Did we forget he got injured last year? He hurt his shoulder. He missed. He missed what? The rest of the game. He only played 4 or 5 games last year. Comes
And
back this
Flacco
season.
balled out with the Browns.
Flacco did ball out. You got to admit that.
What I'm
Last
ball out
saying
with
is
everybody,
he
though.
has not had enough playing time to have consistency of being like, all right, I'm back in fold. He got suspended for a year, come back, plays the last 4 or 5 games of that season, comes back the next season, plays the first 4 weeks, and then his shoulder fractured. He got sit again, and now he comes back. He has not. Nothing's been going his way. Nothing.
Well, maybe we'll find out next week, and the week after that, we'll see. That is for us to find out. But one thing I had to talk about: how about the New York Football Giants? We talked about the Jets. The Giants get a gritty win. They get a really gritty win against the Seattle Seahawks. You guys see that blocked kick for the win?
Was that illegal?
That's what I wanted to ask you guys because I'll give you my point. So at first it looked very illegal, but I know they brought in the rules guy, Gene Steratore. Isaiah Simmons, you can't jump over a player. He kind of went like in between two players, but jumped.
I
don't know
thought
if
you thought you couldn't touch the long snapper, and Dexter Fowler pulled him down.
Dexter Fowler, the center fielder.
Yeah, what?
Dexter Lawrence, but
Dexter Lawrence.
no, I think he did do that. I thought it was the player next to the long snapper, though. Was it the long snapper?
I don't know. I think that's what the debate was about.
Yeah, I'm not sure. You guys see that or? Guess
I
not.
saw it. I don't think it was illegal. I know you can't jump over them. I don't think he jumped over anybody. He jumped right through him. So I didn't see anything about that being illegal. If there was someone pulling him down, that should have been a penalty that was called. But other than that, he didn't jump over anybody. It's not an illegal play. Missed call, I guess. But honestly, looked pretty good in there.
My favorite part about that though is like it's a rule. Once the kick is blocked, you could just nail you could just lay out the kicker. You guys see them absolutely lay him out like he was a kid, like grown men just hitting him. It was so funny. He just got absolutely just shoved over.
I'll say the Giants have impressed me a lot the past 2 weeks. Their defense is good, especially that defensive line. They have Dexter Lawrence, Brian Burns. They have another guy. He comes in on like third downs, Orgy or something. I forgot. I can't remember his name. But their D line is very good. They get after the quarterback. They get home with just rushing 4. I think that's what's been really good. And then Neighbors has been a really good offensive piece for Daniel Jones. You just know you have a security blanket. If for a quarterback to succeed, you just gotta have a good number one. That's why Bryce Young was struggling. He don't got no one number one. But I will say the Giants defensive coordinator, he needs a raise. He's been the past few weeks, the Giants defense have been struggling. I watched that Seahawks game the other day. The Seahawks couldn't get nothing. They on third down, it was a nice blitz. They was coming after Geno Smith, and he couldn't tell. They was disguising it as a zone and then bringing in from the backside a linebacker. So I have to say the defense has been superb.
Damn impressive. But yeah, you're talking about Azeez Ojulari. Yeah, he's another guy that can get after the rush. I think their head coach, what's his name, Brian Dable, he did a really, really, really good job this year. I get it, like so they lose that close Commanders one, but the Commanders are 4-1 right now. The Commanders are damn good. How about them Commanders? You know, we talked about the Browns getting smoked, but how about Jaden Daniels?
Rookie of the year.
Yeah.
Oh, no question.
Name another guy who can be.
Malik Neighbors is on track to beat the reception record and the target record in the same year, and he's missed a game. So I guess he's up for his money, but right now it's Shane Daniels.
His Neighbors playing this week. Is he back from concussion this week?
He should be back this week.
He should be back. Dude, you guys remember it was because they're the LSU boys. They were like, I bet you like 10 grand I win rookie of the year, and you bet me 10 grand I win. Hey, they're going back and forth right now. I wish they kept that bet, but I think that's like some illegal, Calvin Ridley level illegal gambling.
It's not really illegal. They just shouldn't have said it. Who said it? It was Neighbors that said it.
I think Neighbors pulled out of it once he got drafted by the Giants.
No,
is leading the Commanders to the playoffs this year.
Right now they're leading the NFC.
I mean, hey, look at the Cowboys' next 5-6 games. I think that division is wide open. I don't believe in the Eagles. I think the Eagles have a lot of problems. Jalen Hurts is not my type of quarterback. I think he's a game manager at best. I know they have a lot of injuries, but He makes the same mistakes every week. He can't hold on to the football. He doesn't read the defense pretty nicely to me because some picks. He threw a pick to Tyrann Mathieu when they played the Saints, and dude, he didn't move. The corner didn't move. He just sat there, and you see him. If the receiver's coming, rule number one, you never let the receiver cross your face. And he just threw it right to him. So I think that division's wide open because the Cowboys' next 6 games is rough. I'll pull it up, but yeah, I think they can make it. I think they'll make it as a. I'll say hot topic. They win the division, but I'm gonna hold that on that.
I
I'm
honestly don't think the Commanders are winning the division. I think a healthy Eagles team is still the best team in the division by a good margin. The Commanders' defense is terrible. Their secondary is terrible. Their offense is cool. They've played nobody. A healthy Eagles team with Saquon, Jalen Hurts, everything kind of going, they're by far the best team in this division. The Cowboys are better than the Commanders. The Commanders aren't that good. Their offense is electric. Their defense is going to hold them back. They won't win them games. It's going to hold them back.
All right, let me tell you something. The Cowboys' next games: Lions, Niners, Falcons, Eagles, Texans, Commanders. That's a rough.
I see some losses in there. That's for sure.
That's a rough.
I'm saying.
Tough. But we got 2 more games to get to, and this is a very, I don't even think sensitive topic is the right word, but it's close to my heart because my team got screwed over by this. Did you guys see Josh Allen get murdered on a football field? Absolutely murdered. And then the medical staff gave him smelling salts and let him get back in there. The dude was concussed. He was on the ground laying unconscious. I promise. And guess what? He gets to go right back in the game. What are these concussion protocols for? Only for the Dolphins? Are they only so the Dolphins have to take out their quarterback for a play? This is
No, your quarterback doesn't have the best balance. Your quarterback, I touch him, he gets concussed.
That's not the point. The point is, what the absolute hell is the NFL doing? Josh Allen went in there absolutely concussed. That is so disingenuous to player safety.
It's a ratings game, Sula. It's a ratings game. It always has been.
He went into the blue tent.
Take him out.
He went into the blue tent.
He's concussed. He shouldn't play this.
Sounds fine to me.
He went into the blue tent, got checked out. You're fine. You come back out.
I'm tired of watching backup quarterbacks, dude. If he can go out there and look like he's alive, dude, put him in because I'm tired of watching backups play.
Well, I'm not tired.
Did you see him stumble? Did you see him stumble?
I saw him not even know the game was over when they lost to the Texans. He's sitting there like an idiot because he doesn't know where he is. Do you guys see him play after that? I think he maybe completed 1 pass after that. He looks like an idiot.
I mean, his team is not very good, to be fair. The Bills are not good.
What? How are you going to say that? They were the most dominant team for the first 3 weeks. They were the most dominant team.
Who did they play?
They didn't play anybody, but you can't say they're not good. They're the best team in the AFC East, one of the best teams in the AFC, and they have the best quarterback running their offense.
Right there. The Jets fired their own coach, and the Dolphins are lifeless.
I think I still have the Jets winning that division. That might me just being stupid, but I still think the
show now. That's what it is.
Don't get your hopes up, Al.
It's a shit show. Maybe the Dolphins can pull 1 or 2 out and then pray Tua gets back and lights it up. But I think the Bills have it made right now because the Jets dug their own grave. I don't know what the hell they were doing. And then the Dolphins, what are they going to win? Maybe 2 more games until he comes back the next 5 or 4. They'd be lucky to go 2-2. But
are you drafting a quarterback this year?
Absolutely not, dude. There's no good. Everyone that gets drafted stinks besides Jaden Daniels and CJ Stroud. Can you name another quarterback that's good that's been drafted since 2020?
Caleb Williams hasn't looked horrible.
But number 1 pick.
Not great.
The Dolphins aren't going to have a number 1 overall pick. We'd be settling on some idiot. That's who to be setting on. Like Shedeur.
I think you should have a certified backup. I don't think Tua has a lot left in this game.
No, I think he has a lot left. I think we could use a backup, though, and we tried with Mike White, and that didn't work. But
that's why you go into the draft, you draft a quarterback. He might be another Love. He sit for 2-3 years. Tua gets another concussion. You're out of there, buddy. And here we go.
In the first round. We're not good enough to spend a first-round pick on a quarterback.
That's why didn't they go pick up Flacco in the offseason like the Colts did, you know?
Sorry, wrong way. Yeah, that's what I said. But instead, no, they'll roll with Skylar Thompson for a week and just lose that game. But because we only have a few minutes left, it's been a great episode. But the best game of the week, Ravens overtime win, 41-38. What a game! The Ravens go into Cincinnati. Joe Burrow 1-4. The Ravens, they pound the rock, man. Derrick Henry, he's serious. Lamar was awesome. Lamar was he was a magician out there. It was awesome. Isaiah Likely catching 2 touchdowns. What did you guys catch from that game?
The Bengals defense is going to ruin that team.
Oh,
The
yeah.
Bengals defense is probably bottom 3 in the NFL, arguably the worst defense I've ever seen. They let up probably 40 points a game. Their offense isn't bad. Like, I talk a lot of smack about Joe Burrow.
Offense, Nick. They have a top 5 offense.
Yeah, their defense is just terrible. They shouldn't be 1-4, but again, their defense lets up 40, 50 points a game, so they're not going to win anything.
No, your record is what you are. If you are 1-4, then you are playing 1-4. I watched that game. I would like the Ravens come into the week. Derrick Henry should get a minimum, at worst case scenario, unless he's injured, 20 carries. Minimum 20 carries. I don't. The problem with the Ravens is I don't think they're dedicated enough to the run. I know you have Lamar and MVP, but dude, when you have what 6'2", 6'3", 250, don't nobody want to tackle him. I formation, fullback in the front. The fullback gonna block the first linebacker that come down, and then what's next after that? The safety in the corner, stiff arm. I think that's why they won the game. Look at the last run. I formation, boom. What was that 80, 70 yards? I just want the Ravens to be more dedicated to the run. I really believe in this team. I think this really could be the year. I'm hoping this is the year for them. I need Derrick Henry to get at least 20 carries. I know you have an MVP, but Derrick Henry needs 20 carries because when you have a running back like that, everybody's scared. Everybody's scared. Now the receivers are wide open on quick slants. Pop, 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 pop. Simple. I just keep on pounding, keep on pounding. Clash is going to be there all day because the defense will be guessing the whole game. The whole game. They stopped running the ball halfway through there and then just kept forcing. I'm like, dude, keep pounding the ball. Like, keep running the ball.
Yeah.
Are the Ravens Super Bowl contenders?
I think they are. And if they're not, we're screwed because then the Chiefs are going to go to their 3rd consecutive Super Bowl. But that's all the time we have tonight, boys. I wish we can go for another hour, but we cannot. But I thought it was a great time, boys. You guys have a good time? I sure did. But thank you guys all for viewing the Wild Snap, the second show, 2nd consecutive week. Take that parlay we gave you guys. I'm feeling really good about it.
I'm putting that parlay in.
I'm feeling nice.
I'm putting that parlay in. What you said the payout was? 260?
Yeah, it's like a plus 2,000 something, but I'm feeling nicey, like John Gruden said about that. But we're gonna have to wrap it up, boys. Thank you everybody for tuning in. We'll be live every Tuesday, 5 to 6 p.m. Maybe the same crew will come back. We'll see. But that's it from us. We'll see you guys.